We've got Mike Miedler joining us right now, the Century 21 real estate CEO. Mike's here to rescue me from Charlie. But Mike, let me ask you something, not so much about Bitcoin, but real estate as an investment. It always competes with stocks about whether one is better than the other. How is it looking these days? I mean, from people who are saying this was going to be a problematic year for real estate, I see comebacks in some of the once hot markets that went cold. How do you assess things?
Neil, thanks for having me back on. We did sell a home up in Rhode Island a couple years ago with Dogecoin, so it is a currency that's being used out there. But seriously, on the housing front, I think there's a couple good positive signs that are building momentum, right? I mean, first and foremost, this decade-long run-up in price appreciation, which we've seen certainly double-digit price appreciation over the last 4 years, is starting to settle in a little bit. I think we'll end the year anywhere from flat to 2 or 3% increase year over year. In fact, there is some buyer negotiation that happens out there where about 40% of the homes that come to market are actually taking a price decrease. Here's the other good news, and you're flashing it up now, but the mortgage rates, even though they've come down just a little bit, they are creating more demand. I think week over week, we're up about 3% in purchase applications.
Oh, wow.
That's 4 consecutive weeks in a row. And believe it or not, you know where we were last year, but it's about a 50% increase from November 2023. On top of that, and we've seen the Fed start cutting in September, what that turned into was units across the country lifting and increasing. First time year over year in October, increase in units since 2021. So I think we're seeing some positive signs. Affordability is still the biggest issue, and that's obviously mainly a driver of rates.
But there is limited supply, right?
There is limited supply. I mean, we are at decade lows in units that we're selling here. That said, we are a 38% increase in inventory year over year. And you're right. I mean, I argue about this all the time, or argue for it. And I think, hopefully the new administration is going to clear some path for it. But we are needing more development in this country to keep up with the rapid generations who are coming into their main home buying years.
You know, I'm wondering if there's, going to be a problem with inflation next year. Even Donald Trump couldn't rule it out next year as a possibility with ignited growth and the rest. But that means market rates could go backing up a little bit. The Fed could pause on rate cuts a little bit, if not go the other way. I don't know how likely that is, but what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, look, I hope that the Fed stays true to what they were talking about, which is a couple of small rate cuts over the next year. I mean, what people don't realize and what consumers should realize is when the Fed starts talking about it, it's already starting to get baked into the mortgage number. So if you are a home buyer, be prepared to act. Make sure you're talking to a great real estate agent who can help you through the process. It is not a quick process and it takes time. But, I think the rates are obviously the main driver. We're a very sensitive market to that. And honestly, to your point earlier, I think it's really more about the inventory. That said, Neil, you got to think about this, and this is another point back to the rates, is probably 70% of existing homeowners right now have rates that are below 4%. And so,
wow.
They're not ready to move up or move out and create more inventory unless those rates move.
That's amazing. That is amazing. Real quick, are you optimistic that next year will be better?
I do think we're going to see an increase. I think we'll see an increase, a small increase in units and price, no matter who you talk to. Fannie, Freddie, Goldman, NAR, they're all thinking that we're going to be a couple percentage points up in price and a couple percentage points up in units. And hopefully we move, like I said, more to a normalized housing market.
Yeah, whatever that is these days, right? Mike, thank you very much. Good seeing you. Mike, it's the Century 21 Real Estate